Hi, Betty. Thank you so much for coming, for being the first one in the door. We'll give it one more minute. Okay, let's start. We'll see who shows up. Um, how you been, Betty? It's just the two of us right now. Okay, so today, Betty, today, what's today? Today is Thursday, April 24th, 2025. Mm. And we are smack in the middle of the greatest story Hashem, the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, ever told. Hmm. It's a day. Hi, Chase. Good morning. My new administrator. He's gonna be in charge of nuking any trolls. Thank you for doing that for me, Chase. So yeah, today is the day before my birthday, and I just want to say thank you to Hashem for making this past year the year of my highest dreams come true so far. Hi, Irma. Hi, Sydney. No sound. Can you hear me, guys? Hmm. Someone tell me you could hear me. Okay, sound. Um, yeah, so Hashem knocked this past year out of the park for me, and introducing me to Rabbeinu YIRAH and his crew, Rose and Aleph and Malachi and everybody, Indy, Zeke. Where's Zeke? And the boys, Seth and Gabe, everybody out there, Elias, and everybody part of this family here with me now. I found my tribe. I finally found my tribe. Um, I'm telling everybody that I'm turning 30. David, 39th. Yeah, I'm turning 30 because 50 is the new 30. I really feel that way. I've never felt younger and more vibrant and more alive in my life. I was talking with Guy this morning, and we were agreeing that we have a new breath of life breathed into us from the Sodot of Torah that Rabbeinu YIRAH has revealed to us on the planet, the beta testers that we are. This, I just want to say right now, thank you, Irma, that before I forget, that today's learning goes to the Aliyah, I can't even talk, Aliyat Neshama of Irma's mother. Irma, give me her name in the chat so I could say it out loud. Today's her yahrzeit. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Eileen. So, why am I drunk? I'm drunk this morning. I really feel drunk. And I realize I'm drunk on Torah. Rabbi Gozlan always said that Sod equals Yayin in Gematria. And I finally have experienced this in the body, where the revelations from the midnight Zohar class, the noon Zohar class, I feel like I stumble out of those classrooms. I feel like all of us, whoever's in that room, when we end the chat, we're like stumbling out of that room drunk, totally drunk. Zahava bat Sarah Avraham, le'ilu nishmasa. May her soul, Irma, join the highest light of Hashem and the highest Atik. You can picture it now. I keep cutting in and out. Oh, Chase, I'm sorry. Hopefully the connection gets better. So yeah, so I feel drunk this morning. I feel like I'm slurring my speech. I feel like I should not be operating any heavy machinery. I asked Hashem to like help me keep my hands steady today in the office. All my work should come out good and healing. Hi Ray. Hi Ray. David Lasso. Stephen. Okay, so there are certain like one-liners and certain times when Rabbeinu Yira is teaching that I know those of us that listen experience this, where you just have to pause it and like take it in because it is such a high level Torah that he's revealing from the Atik, from the highest place, that it kind of it sends you out of your body. You have to ground yourself again. And I want to give you some examples. I wrote them down because they're just a sampling, a taste. And I've been posting all the classes to my YouTube channel, and I'll make them organized in a playlist. I started doing that, and I'll share it everywhere because we're finishing out Zohar. Aleph and his room, we are finishing out. They are just. I joined up recently, but they are finishing for the third or fourth time the entire Zohar, having read it noon and night for years. And the last one is going to be at midnight again tonight on the eve of my birthday. So I thank Hashem for that wink and that nod. I really do. It means so much to my heart. The timing of that. And okay, let me read to you guys. I'm like really drunk right now. I can't get words out. I can't get thoughts cohesive. I'm drunk on the Sodot of Hashem. I'm drunk on Torah. It's the best feeling. And when Rabbeinu Yira gets in this flow state, he himself gets in like this flow state where every word out of his mouth is just poetry. It's just like going to a poetry slam, you know, where they're just like in the zone. And he's bringing down light, pure light. And he taught me recently that Moshe Rabbeinu mostly interfaced with Zeir Anpin, with the Yud Kei Vav Kei name of Hashem. It was said that the name El Shaddai was what was revealed to the Avos, to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? Which is an even lower level. That's the level of Yisod. And then Yud Kei Vav Kei was revealed, and a higher level was revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu. And I asked Rabbeinu, I said, but Hashem, he said to Hashem at the burning bush, with what name should I come to them? Which is such a curious question to begin with. And now we understand why that question, because all the different spheres are associated with different names. So Moshe's like, well, who should I come to them with and tell them I'm taking them out with this name? And what name did Hashem give? What name does Hashem want us to know him by? Hashem himself told us. Hashem wants us to know him by Eheyah Asher Eheyah, the highest level, the highest name of the Atik, the highest light, where the crown jewel resides, where the Aleph Beis resides, the letters. And so I said to Rabbeinu, how could it be that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know a higher name? He said he knew the higher name, but he did not know the particulars of that name. So when Rabbi Yira is teaching us the secrets of the Atik and the emanations of the Atik, this is information Moshe Rabbeinu himself didn't know the particulars of. Think about that. Think about that. He's giving us a higher wisdom in that Elan of the emanation of the three heads of the Atik. This is information you cannot take lightly for a second. The gravity and weight of that information is heavier than the information Moshe Rabbeinu himself held. Think about that. When I hear this pasuk now, I got this, I think, 2 nights ago from a class. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'chunaka. Let Hashem shine his light through you. I can imagine in my mind's eye the skull with the 7 holes for the 7 lights that fell. The 7 letters with Tagin. in the skull. I can picture that on his Elan, and I can picture it in the 7 holes in my own skull, the eye sockets, the nose, the mouth, the ears, and I can feel I can ask Hashem to draw down his supernal oil and shine his light through my face, through the holes in my face. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha. Those words, the sod of those words are diagrammatic for me now. They're atzilus for me now. They're atzmus for me now. They're in my own body, reflected in my own body right now. It's huge. I'm drunk on it. Rabbi Gozlan said, I remember Rabbi Gozlan always said this analogy. He said, the Torah is like a woman that undresses herself slowly for you. And I understand that now better also. And how the Torah is a malbush for the Torah of Bria, of the construct Torah, which is a malbush for the Torah of Atzilus. It's wrapped in like layers of clothing, multi-layers of clothing that come off. And Hashem reveals himself in his fullest glory through the letters. And the pshat comes to life, exquisite life through the sod. Okay, I want to play 1 minute. I want to play 1 minute for you guys from last night. And then we're going to go into a half hour of the crown jewel. We're going to finish out the crown jewel on Monday. Hi, Hiroko. Hi, Hiroko. I know, David. Is that like, it's in an, David, you reminded me of Chaim Vital, when one of the tzaddikim, I forget which one, said to him, why are all the analogies of Zohar so explicitly sexual? And in the vision that he came to me, like hands him a pen, he's like, you have a better analogy? You try it. And the truth is Hashem knows how to get our attention. You start talking sex and the room gets really quiet. Hashem knows that because he knows us. Because he made us. Okay, so let's go. Let me share my screen. Which one was this right here? Sure.
Idol worshippers partaking of avodah zara, where even the word zara hints to zeranpin. And avodah means a slave, to be a slave. And so the nations were called idol worshippers, participators of avodah zara. Avodah zara means to be a slave to zeranpin, meaning to be a slave to your own midot, your own forms, from which our sages say, when did Israel go into exile? When the 7 royal houses entered into idolatry, which can now be read as, when did one's connection to God leave them? When they entered into the 7 royal houses of idolatry, when they entered into that quality called the nations, when they became an idol worshiper, when they began to serve their forms, when they began to take reality and define its worth according to their physical suffering, their mental capacities, their spiritual attainments, their emotional conditions, their desires, etc., etc., etc. When reality is defined by our emotions, reality is defined by our physical sufferings or any of these other things, this is a real idol. An idol is a graven image of God. And it is written, what can I take as a witness to you? What can I liken to you? And it is written, I call heaven and earth to bear witness against you this day. Therefore, if earth is the witness and likeness of God, then this is a true idol. Because then we're taking the likeness of God, an example reality, and then making a graven image by the projection of our own forms onto it. And this is an absence of the only thing that's applicable, which is the mother gives its garments to the daughter.
I mean, can you not get drunk off of that sod alone of finally understanding what avodah zarah is? In the truest sod form, the truest sod definition of avodah zarah is that you are a slave to your forms. Okay, that you are an eved to the Zion, to the avodah zarah. And if you don't understand the construct Torah and you don't have likutei Torah, likutei YIRAH, SEFER 9 that we're learning together now, where it's in the beginning, it tells you what your forms are, defines and delineates your forms. If you don't have that concept, you'll never understand what avodah zarah is and how to avoid avodah zarah, which is the projection of your emotional distortions, intellectual distortions, all your distortions onto reality. And that's the truest form of an idol, because you are totally blocked off from reaching the true Hashem, which is above that realm. And you're stuck in idol worship. I mean, that's the highest wisdom right there. And that's how to attain a relationship with the Atik, is to work on your midot, to rectify the midot, is to have the light of Hashem shine back down through your rectified midot, through your cleaned out vessels. If your vessels aren't clean, the light of Hashem cannot shine through them. It's just so good. It's just so good. Hi, Menachem. Okay. What else did I want to tell you guys? Let me just check my notes real quick. Okay, Rabbeinu YIRAH also said something huge. Something huge. He said, this world, this reality is called Ma, is called Zot, is called Malchus, is called Nukva. Where we are right now, this is Asiya. And all those terms are interchangeable. And this world is also called a shining mirror. Why is it called a shining mirror? Because it's a reflection of your midot. Meaning, I want to read the exact quote that he said. When we cause suffering, we will have suffering reflected back to us, magnified. Because what does a mirror do? This is what he said in this class last night. It could take sunlight and make fire when you reflect it off of there. So be so careful. Be so careful with your midot and your interactions with people and your thoughts. Yes, Irma, like Haman, who represented the intellect, the Sodot of the Megillah that Rabbeinu YIRAH wrote out for us. Yep, it is pure idol worship. When you take your own intellectual projections and spew them on reality. And reality will always zing it back to you. And he also made such an important point last night, that the Jewish people as a collective, when we stop calling ourselves the chosen people and cloistering ourselves off and having an elitist superiority mentality, because the karma of that, the reflection of that in the shining mirror is suffering, is retribution from the nations, because it's so despicable. It's reflected back to us and magnified and blows up in our face. When we're not a light to the nations, they need us to be a light. And when we're not doing that, when we're only shining our light internally and not externally, that's when the suffering happens. Hashem shakes us up to remind us of our job. And that's why I'm so grateful to Lubavitcher Rebbe, because he stationed a Chabad house in every corner of this world, of this reality. And I think a tremendous tikkun was accomplished with that. We became a light into the nations. Okay, let's get into part 3 of the crown jewel. Oh god, I just had to share my drunken ranting with you guys. I really feel drunk. I sound slower than usual. Okay. Yeah, or I always cringed. I really bristle at the word chosen. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, everybody's chosen, and the job of the Jewish people is just to help spread the light of Hashem for the whole world. And that's what we're about to do right now. So let's do it. Let's get into it. Le'iloi nishmaso shel your mother, Zahava, whose name means light itself. Share screen. Okay. We're going to do another half hour, you guys, and it's a really good one. Enjoy it. In a way, that's the da'as, the absolute knowing of creation. It's immutable. It can't be changed.
That's exactly correct. And
okay, guys, I just wanted to tell you, I forgot that we are on we're picking up on page 334. 334 in Likutei YIRAH.
The most beautiful thing, it is in the exact arrangement that is being shown. As exact
you slide on the diagram, you slide this letter to this letter, and it'll tell you what any word in any language, is that correct? Any word in any language?
It then transcends all of the languages. And so why is the water blue? Because water houses air, H2O. And in its depth, it's black. It's the same reason why the sky is blue. Why? Because air houses water. And why is it black at night? For the same reason, air houses water. So when a child comes to me and says, why is the sky blue? Or why is the water blue? I'll have the answer. Because just as it is this way, the air houses the water. So it too must be the opposite. Water houses the air. Yeah, exactly. And that's breath. And think about a bubble. Letter B in the word bubble. Water houses air.
You get the definition of the word.
Exactly. And at a scientific level.
Yes. Yes.
Law.
Yes. I can't believe I'm really just understanding this. It's so embarrassing. I thought I understood and I didn't. And I probably, in a week from now, will say that last week I thought I understood and I didn't. It's amazing how it just opens up.
Yes, yes. And one of the beautiful things I'll say about this opening up of the letters is that this system, these secrets, are not something you need to have faith in, nor do you need to believe in it. And you can also therefore understand why it says only Mashiach would understand anything about these letters, because how supernal of a concept is what we're discussing, how ridiculously abstract, and then for it to transcend all of these different levels of real reality where we're deriving scientific fact that a baby is housed water, and at birth the letter B tells you your water breaks. It's absurd. It's the definition of an absurdity. Of course, this is why I always say when people come into contact with the crown jewel, they'll say, well, I've never heard this before. Of course not. And when they
only the Mashiach can reveal this.
Yes. And if they take it to their Rav or Yeshiva book or anyone that they know that knows the level of Torah, they will not know this. It's impossible unless they be that person. So,
can I add one more thing before you continue?
Of course.
So the Sod Hashem Li'Re'av, that I just had that epiphany as you were saying that, like, because your name is YIRAH, right? And just for anybody who hasn't heard, he received that name. I don't want to say it wrong. Can you remind me how you received the name YIRAH?
Yes, absolutely. So during that first experience when I was calm, that was the name that I was called by, YIRAH.
In the awake vision or the sleeping vision? In the awake
vision, I repeated the same thing. When I fell on my face and my lips touched the dust of the earth, I said, this is the fear of God, which is what
you called by the name YIRAH in those both of those?
In the first experience, I was called by the name YIRAH while consciously awake. And in the second, I was not called by the name YIRAH, but when I fell on my face and said, this is the fear of God, it was implied this is YIRAH.
This is that you, implying that it's you. So I remember I told this to Garment, who I know is nearby, sitting nearby with you. And when I was starting to understand who you were and what was going on, I pulled out my Mashiach. I have this in my wallet, and I pulled out the brachas that you say when Mashiach is revealed, and it says, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechalak mikvodo li'Yirav, that Hashem apportioned from his honor to his YIRAH, to the YIRAH Shelo. In Hebrew, of, the vav at the end is the possessive. And then the second bracha is Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechalak mechachmaso li'Yirav. Li'Yirav. It doesn't say l'ohavav, to those who love him. It says li'Yirav. And you said that we're going to get to understand the pshat through the sod. You're supposed to learn the sod first, and this was what was kept from us. The Jewish people all these years was the sod level of learning, and you can't get to the real true pshat, to the literal. It's a sin to learn Torah at the literal level. You taught me that. So you have to get to the pshat through the tunnel of the sod. The sod is the only way to understand what the heck the literal Torah is talking about. So if you take this bracha literally, you understand that it says YIRAH twice in the bracha that we say when Mashiach is revealed. I don't know where we got these brachas from. I don't know who wrote them and originated them, but that was pretty mind-blowing when I remember that. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. Let's go back.
Absolutely, and this is because it must be fulfilled in the Pshat when it says YIRAH Hashem Mashiach Chokmah, YIRAH Hashem Mashiach Das, because not only should the person's name be YIRAH, but the very book itself, which reveals this, must also be called YIRAH, and so that it should be written YIRAH Hashem Mashiach Chokmah, because the beginning of wisdom of this nature will forever be imbued in this particular sefer revealed by a person. That's same thing with the da'as.
And
so
we
that's the pshat.
Yes, the da'as of knowing the pshat through the sod. And it's as if all of humanity, Jew and non-Jew, must go back to first grade and humble ourselves and understand we have to start with the aleph beis from square one and learn it just like we're in first grade. You didn't learn it in the first week. It was repetition and repetition and repetition, just like I'm experiencing as we're sitting here right now, of understanding a newer level of understanding. So I just want anybody out there listening, we're all going, the process of Mashiach is for humanity to go back to first grade and together learn the aleph beis and how to relate the aleph beis to each other and the world around us. And from there derives the unity and the world peace that we're looking for.
That's absolutely correct. And this is why it says in the Zohar that even angels and supernal angels do not know anything about these letters. Because think about how supernal the placements of these letters are actually. When you can hear the word blink and know the letter B in the word blink means it's to put water over your eyes, and then take what as a witness to you, what can I liken to you? An example I call heaven and earth bear witness against you, meaning the earth is the witness, reality is the witness. I go into reality and see that blinking. Letter B is to put water over the eye. That's the reason why we blink. The level is so absurd, confounds the mind, and baffles human understanding.
So this information derives from higher than the angels, from a world higher than the angelic realm?
Way beyond. So what are we studying in the heavenly yeshivas?
What are we studying in the heavenly yeshivas?
This is a glimpse of it.
Uh-huh.
This is the glimpse of it.
Uh-huh. And the yeshiva of Chanoch?
Yeah, even higher. Because we don't.
Because he's there Anpin, correct?
Metat, yeah. We no longer because to learn these secrets of sound and frequency, you speak in your dreams. You don't need a goof that dies and perishes and needs to eat, drink, and do all these other mundane dross level things to receive the type of light we're exposed to right now that we're talking about in this video right now. You don't need a body that suffers in order to experience that type of light, which means in Olam Chaba, you can receive this type of light free from death. Free from suffering. You don't need to suffer to receive this light.
Oh, wow.
So the third of the 7 double letters on page 336 is letter Gimel. In English, this is the letter G, and it denotes to progress. We know Gimel means camel. It cannot be pronounced.
Oh, no. Come back.
In English, we see this in the word go, because letter G in the word go means it's progressing somewhere. Letter G in the word going, letter G in the word game, letter G in the word gas, letter G in the word gasoline, etc. Because what does gas do? So you can go somewhere. Gasoline, the same thing. So 337, the letter Shin and Aleph blended and created the letter Gimel. And so we can see the triangulation right there. Air progresses fire. Fire progresses air. Similarly, we learned that air progresses fire. In English, we see this in words such as the word grow, letter G in the word grow, by which air and light are needed to progress. An example, plants that grow. We see it in the principle with aleph in words like gas. So when you put gasoline in your car, so we'll just look at the principle real quick. When you put gas in the car, notice shin progress to aleph. And what happens with the gasoline? It's literally fire progressing into emission, which is atmospheric substance. Right? We will find in every environment there will be a direct interaction between the light shin and the air aleph. Furthermore, they will be necessary to the progression of all gimel, which means all plant life are derived between these two aspects, aleph and shin. So we'll go back into the other level. 338, fire progressed by air. Has to be opposite true. Fire is progressed by air. So is fire progressed by air? Absolutely. Can you light a fire in space in a place where there's no air? No. Fire is progressed literally by air. And so this is a law that we see in reality. In order to grow a fire, it must be stoked. And the stoking of the fire is the air. The principle is seen clearly when we analyze the word G and the word glow, which is light, shin, progressed by gimel, and the atmosphere, aleph. So think about glow. Is fire progressed in the atmosphere? It is also seen in the word gasoline, letter G, by which fire, shin, is progressed, gimel, into aleph, the air. And so when you put gasoline in your car, what's happening? There are explosions happening in your engine, which is converting that gasoline by fire, shin, gimel, to progress, aleph, into air.
Guys, I just want to pause this for a second, and you're going to see how when Rabbeinu is teaching, he gets so excited. When he's giving over this material, he gets so animated and comes to life because this is his life mission. He's finally able to relate the massive download he received in the desert, and you see that he gets really excited. You're going to see it just builds and builds.
And what's coming out of the exhaust pipe of your vehicle? Precisely that. Fire progresses into air. Gasoline. Fire progresses into air. The engine is causing fire explosions to the oil, which is progressing the vehicle, and this gets turned into atmospheric emission coming out of the exhaust pipe. As it is with our atmosphere and heat. There are other words, even in slang, which I don't like using these terms a lot, but I use some of these terms because a lot of the people that I come and teach, they come out of a secular world. They're involved with all kinds of things. I personally, myself, I'm not a partaker of smoking or anything like this, but I have many people that do come from that world, and obviously they're involved with smoking to some degree or another, but even in words like the slang word for a bong. And so letter B tells you what? It's a variable houses water. So what do you got to do in that? You got to put water in. And what's G? The gimel in the word bong, it means fire progresses to air. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're burning it to progress into an atmospheric substance. So the general principle of me bringing up such a word like this is to show you that even slang itself is derived according to Lashon HaKodesh. There's nothing outside of Lashon HaKodesh. And this includes slang on the most absurd things that we would think are tumah, but it really is tahor when you take it Lashon HaKodesh. So we see the letter kaf, which is associated with the hand. The fourth of the 7 double letters kaf. This is an amazing one. In English, is the letter C, and it denotes to carry something. We can kind of see it's like the shape of a hand. We kind of see this carrying something, and we'll see what these two things are right here. Similarly, we see this in the letter C as the word cup. So what's he holding? Letter C is the word cup, which denotes to carry to the mouth. Why? Because C means to carry, U is to bind, and P is the mouth. We'll get into that. It is also seen in the word such as letter C in the word carry, letter C in the word clap, which is denoting the hands. The sound of this letter is C, like gimel, and cannot be pronounced without the tongue, as it was bound and placed to this side. We will analyze this principle in depth. So try to make the sound of letter C, ka.
Ka.
Make it without your tongue, though.
Can't.
Right, and same thing with gimel.
Gimel, you're right.
Right, but look at the letter bait, though. That was with mem. Right. So then thus we find that gimel was placed over here and kaf was placed on the same side of the letter shin. And so we find that these double letters are bound, as it were, to these frequencies. And this is why they're called mother letters. They're called mother letters because, as was explained before, you cannot even make the sound of any of these other letters without these faculties. So this principle we see on page 340 is that light, in example shin, will be a covering, example kaf, upon solids. Shin, kaf, mem. We see that. We see this clearly in the word C for color, which is light that covered upon solids. Because remember, what was shin? Letter shin was letter S, which meant light, and sh, which was a covering for the light. Remember? Mem, sophis is solids. So what does it teach us? Light covering what? Solids. And so now letter C in the word color. And what is color scientifically? Light covering solids. We see this in the word camera, which captures light upon solids. I live in a cave. I don't even know what a camera is. And some guy comes to me and says, what is a camera? And I can tell you, just according to the proper range of Lashon HaKodesh, that captures light covering solids. That is a definition of an absurdity, because there's no, obviously, languages, even though clearly the evidence is showing that everything is according to sound of frequency, but somehow, and obviously when they created the word camera, and they used the word camera, which is a more modern term, the camera didn't exist obviously 500 years ago. We had no such idea or conception of a word called camera. Clearly, the person who invented the word camera did not have Lashon HaKodesh in mind. How could he? It's impossible. Which is furtherance of the proof of what I was saying before, that this transcends the inspiration that man receives in his consciousness. Man is not originator of his own thoughts.
Right. Hashem gave him that idea for that word.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, so he sends a Melach now, and the Melach's like, yeah, name it camera. And he's like, camera. I don't know why, but it sounds good. So that in the future, a certain guy would come around and be like, yeah, it's camera because covering light on solids.
Explain it all.
A plan by which one colors light upon solids. In all of existence, we can see that light will cover on solids. In every corner of the universe, we'll see this in each of the principles. So color is literally a covering of light on solids. Who can argue that? Who's going to come and say color isn't light covering solids? No, that's exactly what it is. That's at a scientific level. They know that it's absorbed and refracted light.
Right.
So we'll move into this. So covering of fire upon solids. Okay. We see this principle in the Hebrew word kohen, or priest, by which offers burnt offerings, as noted by the letter kaf. Because letter kaf in between shin and mem, what's kohen doing all day? Burnt offerings. Fire on the solids. We similarly in English, you see this in the word cook, as this implies fire upon solids. We see this in candle, which implies a covering of fire upon solids. That's what a candle is. It's covering of light on solids. We see this letter C in the word coal, because that's exactly what coal is. It's which implies a fire is covered upon solids as a flame to a coal.
That's crazy.
I know. So imagine every single one of these letters are a supernal chamber of the king. Every one of these letters are bringing just ridiculous revelation. Imagine what happens when you begin to take one letters and two letters and they begin to combine each other. All of a sudden, your consciousness starts to expand.
I'm going to pause here, guys. Really pay attention to this, because he's going to teach us about ascension, the true Torah ascension. And he said every letter is a supernal chamber.
Now imagine if you start getting 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters. What happens when you get 22 letters? And all of a sudden it is written, man is not to rely on his own understanding. And then all of a sudden Lashon HaKodesh awakens in your consciousness.
The letters become alive.
Yes. And you become truly ascended. Because this is, when people want to talk about ascension, Buddha, enlightenment, nirvana, Christ consciousness.
This is it. Oh,
this
no.
is not an idea. This is very practical. Now imagine utilizing the placement of these letters, placing them in your consciousness as a meditative technique, and then navigating them every day. Eventually your consciousness would unlock. Because you go from one letter to another letter, an example from strength to strength, until ultimately the voice would speak to you. And
You guys got that? These are secrets to ascension. You're going from Michael El Chayil, letter to letter inside your consciousness. Huge.
That voice that would speak to you would be Lashon HaKodesh. And then no matter what was spoken to you, all of a sudden you start to behold impossible things. Like, the letter B in the word body meant the body is made out of water, which is that's a scientific fact. The body is mainly made out of water, which is ridiculous.
Right. Everything distills down into the Hebrew.
Yes. And not only this prerequisites the necessary equation that there's only one God, and that God is the God of Israel, and that he revealed the Torah with his Lashon HaKodesh. There is no other God. It is supreme. And this is the evidence of that. And this is also why it says the angels don't know anything about the letters, because the angels can sit there and talk to you all day until people have all kinds of conversations with them. Here's conversation Talmud. Angel of death is talking. All these other angels are talking. Do you think they understand the source of how they're talking? Of course not. They're like a robot. Pass the butter. That's what they do.
Pass the butter. And the 22 letters are the Levush of Hashem himself, correct?
Yeah, because it's written he wraps himself in light, and it's written Vayera Elohim et or kitov. So what is light? Et or. The original light is et, the 22 letters.
Aleph through Tuf, S, the word S, which means nothing, means everything.
Yeah, Aleph to Tav.
Yeah, Aleph to Tuf means everything, S. And if we want to know Hashem, this is the most intimate way to know Hashem, is through his letters.
Yes. And utilizing these techniques in a day-to-day practice is the highest form of devotion. It's the highest form of yichud, of kavanot. It's the highest intention you could ever have. It's purely shema when you engage in it. Purely shema.
I'm pausing it again, you guys. There was a one-liner from a few nights ago that I wrote down. It said, Rabbeinu YIRAH said, without Lashon HaKodesh, without the Hebrew letters, there is no access to Hashem. Think about that. Pause on that. Contemplate that. Without the Hebrew letters, without Lashon HaKodesh, we have no access to Hashem. The letters are the access. Right, because you're making the yichud of the highest chachma to the lowest world of the physical, tangible reality.
Exactly. And it's been rendered into the most simple level. So on 342, we have the fifth double letter Fe, which is mouth or throat. It's written two ways. But try to make the sound letter Fe. Fe. Yeah, do without your lips. It's not possible.
No.
And so what we begin to see with this crown jewel is that these letters, it's not just simply some arrangement of artistic expression, God forbid.
Right.
This is something so supernal, so holy, it staggers the mind. When you read it in Likutei, it's revealed way early on that this is the aim. And it shows the picture of the crown jewel right there. And it doesn't get into the crown jewel at that time. It gets into much later. We're page 314. We're deep in.
Right.
That's when we start talking about that crown jewel. But it shows it way early on there. And many people take it like, oh, this is artistic expression. And God forbid, some people think it's a cross. But in reality, though, this is a tool, a sacred gem that refracts and reflects supernal light of Hashem. It reflects the Es HaOr, like a gem that when you shine it in different ways, it refracts different types of light. And so,
you guys got that? The crown jewel, you could imagine it as like a multifaceted jewel, like a diamond, that when you turn the crown jewel this way or that way, you extract different meanings and different realities and different interactions of the 231 gates from this crown jewel. This is why it's called the jewel. I just understood that now, literally now for the first time. That's amazing. That's an amazing thought. When you hold up this crown jewel, it refracts meanings of reality differently every way that you look at it. That's crazy.
So it is Lashon HaChodesh. As we're analyzing this gem from different angles, like we analyzed it up here from Aleph and Mem, it's all bait. And between Aleph and Shin, it's all some Gimel. And now we're in between Mem and Mem, we're looking at Fe. Every one of these levels are revealing different light. Esa or Kitov. And that or is it's incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible that it's anatomic. It's like the lip section the tongue section, the throat section. I'm just understanding for the first time. It's mind blowing. It's blowing my mind right now.
And it's important to remember, especially for all of the viewers that are watching, that this is not faith. You do not need to have faith in this, and you do not need to believe in this. This invites you to come. Invites you. It says, "Come in, come in, come behold the glory for yourself. Come have the dance of Hashem. Come knowledge, direct experiential truth of divine laws and facts of reality."
Through the Aleph phase.
And it's open to every human being, goy, non-goy, Jew,
every human being,
an alien. We have the letter Gimel, so I'll give you two translations of animal speech in a minute, and then you may
Hey, are we going to teach this to the aliens? Huh.
This truth would be their truth. I mean, their planet would be a body of solids or liquids and solids separated from a centralized star by space. It has to be Aleph Mem Shin, 100 billion galaxies. So if there was an alien, obviously it has to be Aleph Mem Shin. And if it's producing sound, it has to be according to those faculties. It'd be the same thing. Yeah, it'd be the same thing. So in Hebrew, we find this letter expressed by the word Fe, meaning mouth. In English, this is the letter P and letter F, meaning Fe in its normal form is letter P, and Fe in its Sophist form, meaning F. This is clearly seen in the word cup, P, which means carry. C means carry. U means united, and P with a mouth. So remember kaf, when we discussed it, it's about carry. So now cup means carry to your mouth because letter P means mouth. So now we just take it from one letter where we're analyzing one letter. Now we're analyzing two letters. And now cup means to carry to the mouth. Is that what a cup does? Carry to the mouth. Similarly, we see this in the word pie, letter P in the word pie, letter P in the word pot, letter P in the word people because they speak, social interaction via the mouth. We will now analyze the principle in depth. So we can see a representation of letter Fe, which is literally a mouth on the top of page 343. The principle of Fe. The letter mem and mem blended to create letter Fe. As such, the letter Fe, P, and F cannot be pronounced without the use of the mouth, mem. Similarly, every mouth in existence will be in core function designed to take in solids and liquids. Air will be included. So we see the picture on the top of it. We see mem and mem sophis in the stomach, because the letter P which is Fe in Hebrew, meaning mouth. It teaches that every mouth is going to take what? Liquids and solids. Why? Because Fe is in between liquids and solids. And so now we're looking at archetypal law across every animal. Whether we've got the bunnies, there's some bunnies over here. My wife has some bunnies that were just shown on screen for a brief second. A dog has a mouth, whatever it is that has a mouth, guess what it's taking in? Liquids and solids. Do you need to have faith in that? Is that belief? Do you need to have, it's an abstract concept? No, it's self-evident. I can look at it directly for sure and say, yeah, for sure, its mouth is taking liquids and solids. I watch it eat food and drink water all day. Similarly, every mouth in existence will be in core function designed to take solids and liquids. This also states that from the mouth, Fe, to the throat, Fe, solids and liquids, because the mouth is the first Fe and the throat is the second Fe. We can see this clearly in words like the letter F in the word food, which goes in by the throat, letter F in the word fear, which means within, F identified as within us, F in the word fun, F in the word failure, meaning within. The principle of Fe, liquids and solids will be together in the mouth. And it will be for every creature in existence. Similarly, we see this in the word like pipe, by which it has two mouths, because the word pipe has two P's in it, which means two mouths, meaning one mouth on one side, one mouth on another side. And we're talking about things that are completely abstract. The word pipe, this is like, I guess a smoking pipe too would also be categorized in this. It would have one mouth when they're putting stuff in and one mouth they're putting to their mouth. But I'm talking about more here like an actual pipe that you use in an industry where there's one mouth connected to another mouth, from which a pipe is placed in the earth or under the water or suspended in the air and takes within it these very same elements. In example, liquids and solids, or the air. So what's passing through pipes? Liquids and solids. You're running wire through it. You're running plumbing through it. It's liquids or solids. And the word pipe even tells us this. Of course, the person who invented, quote unquote, whatever that means, the word pipe, did not have an idea that the word pipe would be used, that it denoted passing solids and liquids through it.
Hmm.
The letter cup now identifies that not just carry to the mouth, because that's what we just learned a second ago. Now the letter P being carried to the mouth means liquids or solids being carried to the mouth.
Hmm.
So what's going in the cup? The letter P tells me liquids and solids. It's not just carried to the mouth now. It's carried to the mouth, liquids or solids, because of the place. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
My heart rejoices when I come into these levels and begin to reveal these levels, especially when people can start to be brought into these levels, because oh my God, you want to talk about world peace? I mean, what's even happening right now? We're not even dealing with something, as I said, we're not dealing with anything that's faith-based, not belief-based. It's definitely not religion. This Da'as Vashem, and this Da'as, horrifyingly enough, is open to any person who so wills to seek it out. No person is refrained from obtaining this light. It's an open door. It's an open door. This is why it says the Da'as of Hashem will fill the entire world. This is also why it says there'll be none to teach of Hashem, for they all will know him. Because in the future, the system that we're teaching, we're showing you right now, the world right now, this system right here, will be known by everybody in the future. Children will know it. Well, adults will know it. They'll wonder, how did you not know?
It's so obvious after you know it.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered a word that didn't fit?
No, never. And it gets even more bizarre, because at the end of this section I have a little secret key that goes into an even deeper level about it. And I'll just
Yes, David, his heart is rejoicing. It is so beautiful to see his heart really, like, he gets so into it. It's like you can't help but get into it with him, feel his excitement, feel his enthusiasm. It's so contagious.
touch on it super brief, and then got Hashem willing, we'll have the time to do it on one level about this. So the sixth letter of the seven double letters, Resh, meaning form, in English is letter R. And all these principles were gathered into every form. Similarly, R, we see this in the Hebrew word for Yetzer, an example of form. In English, you see this in the words such as R in the word form, letter R in the word right, letter R in the word wrote, letter R in the word ring, meaning of form. We will now examine this principle in more depth. This principle states that every formation in existence will be created as a reflection of these principles, and that each will contain in the essence and the reflected nature of its substance the order of all these things. An example, letter Resh hinting to a form from the word Yetzer, it thus derives to us that everything can be, every form in existence can be Aleph Mem Shin. Every form in existence, if it has a mouth, it's going to do what? Take liquids and solids, and so on and so forth.
Oh, wow.
It has been explained, 346, it has been explained that these principles will be both the substance of and reflection of these principles, meaning that the formation of the creature will both be the substance of these laws, and it will also be the reflection of these laws. As such, every form in the universe will reflect the order of the word. In all corners of the universe, it will be this way, as with all things alive and inanimate, as is written, the universe is filled with his
glory.
I said take it to a different level. The universe is filled with his glory. 347. The seventh of the seven double letters, Dalet, meaning a path without walls. This, in English, is letter D. In Hebrew, we see this in the words like Dalet, meaning door. This one letter, having no boundary, was so infinite, it was confused for God. And in olden times, called Deus, which letter D, from which we have words like deity, with letter D, and D and the word day. It's like the letter D in the word God. Why? Because Gimel means to progress, and D is what? This path without walls. And what's the limitation of the path without walls? There's no walls, which means everything. As we see the letter D in the word Deus, which is no term for God. The letter D in the word deity, so on and so forth. It's so enormous. Letter Dalet is actually associated in higher Kabbalah with the Nukva, the Shekhinah, as it is hinted at in the word Echad, where she's called Dal, 4. And she's a reflection of this infinite light as well. This principle shows that all these aforementioned principles are expanded infinitely, and as stated, everything will be both the substance of and reflection of these principles. It's also why, I'm a firm believer, and people can definitely disagree with me about this, but I stand firm on my position. This is exactly why dogs do not belong indoors. Why? Because the letter D in the word dog means path without walls, meaning outside. And Gimel means it progresses itself outside, not inside. Whenever you put it in the letter Dalet, which is value 4, meaning the 4 walls, bad things happen. Bad things happen. It's not natural.
Can you go through God again? I didn't catch the God. Can you do that one more time?
So the letter Dalet is the path without walls.
Path
And
without
so
walls.
And so Gimel means to progress. And so the word God means to progress the path without walls, meaning to progress everything.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So 348, the principle, as stated in addition to every form being a reflection of the principle, as it will be an addition for every environment. This is because is expanded infinitely in all directions. It has been stated everything will be both the substance and reflection of these principles. In English, a path without walls can be seen clearly like in the word door, which is a path without walls, dalet, bound from one side to another side, letter resh form, right? And we'll understand why I'm saying bound from one side to another side, because it's actually letter O, which we'll get ready to go into in a second, the letter Vav. But nonetheless, a soft example is given as a foreshadowing of what's to be revealed. So 349. So we're in section 3. We're finally.
Okay, guys, we're gonna stop at the elemental letters. We just finished the double letters, and oh my God, how great was that? Just to feel his enthusiasm. You know when someone is in their purpose, when they light up from what they're saying, from what they're teaching, from what they're speaking. And this is his, I mean, he just goes crazy when he teaches this. I can feel him like dancing around that apartment and loving every minute of it. David, you're funny. Hi, Zeke. Thank you for coming. What did you say, David? You said something great. I want to scroll back to that. No belief or faith required, and therefore we never need to argue religion ever again, because this ain't that. 100%. When we can just unite inside of understanding the garment of Hashem and seeing it all around us, and viewing reality, viewing Zot through divinity, because we're the Medabrim. We're the only creatures that speak. And we could bring this light of Hashem, the Aleph through Taf, into reality through our speech. And when we speak to each other, we can be united through speech. Just like we were divided in the Tower of Babel, divided us through speech. We're once again going to be reunited through speech, through divinity, through the garment of Hashem. We'll come to know Hashem. Ain't nothing better than that. On that note, I will leave you guys, and I will see you back here Monday, and we will finish out the crown jewel with Rabbeinu YIRAH teaching us, leading the way. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Mwah.